What's up, my Central Unit Galaxy? It's the Central Man here, so back again with another WCW pay-per-view review. The first few weeks of January I've been reviewing sold-out shows between 97, 98 and 1999. This show, Sold Out 2000, is basically the climax of me reviewing sold-out shows. This is the final sold-out show in WCW history because the following year, in 2001, they replaced Sold Out for Sin, and that was the show when Sid suffered that horrifying leg injury. I didn't feel like reviewing Sin for this month because this month marks the 20th anniversary of that show. Maybe next time. Anyway, WCW Sold Out 2000 at the First Star Center. Right now it's the Heritage Bank Center in Cincinnati, Ohio, on the 16th of January 2000. The attendance for the show was 14,132. The buy rate for the show was 115,000 pay-per-view buys. Tony Schiavone, Bobby Heenan, and Mike Tenay on commentary. I think this is Bobby Heenan's final pay-per-view as a commentator. He got replaced by Mark Madden. He was terrible, Mark Madden. He's basically a poor man's Jerry Lawler. And also replaced Mike Tenay for Scott Hudson. He's basically, he's okay, Hudson. Madden was terrible, Why Fix is not broken, that was a good commentating team at the time. Schiavone, Tenay, Heenan, and then just replaced with Mark Madden, who was part of the WCW web team at the time. He cannot, he's shit. Hudson's okay. I think he's a bit bland. I don't want to get into it. Anyway, so what's going on in WCW in 2000? So, Bret Hart is no longer the WCW World Champion. He suffered a concussion in a match against Goldberg at Starrcade 1999. He continued to wrestle while he got the concussion a few weeks after Starrcade, and also they formed the NWO 2000. That was, still continue with the NWO stuff in 2000. Anyway, he continued to wrestle in 2000, and then, his concussion was career ending. He retired later on in October of that year, and you won't see Bret Hart wrestle for another 10 years because until feuding with Vince McMahon at WrestleMania 26 in 2010. The matches in this card was changed. I think 2 or 3 matches were changed. So it was supposed to be, I think it was Bret versus Sid for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Yeah, that was changed because Bret suffered a concussion. And also another match was changed. It was supposed to be Jeff Jarrett versus Chris Benoit. This is for the United States Championship, and this is a triple threat theater. It's basically their version of 3 Stages of Hell. Unfortunately, Jarrett also suffered a concussion because he was in a match. I think it was a steel cage match. Who he was facing. Benoit was the special guest referee. He did like a flying headbutt off the top of the cage. So yeah, Jarrett, he also vacated the United States Championship. Unfortunately, we're not seeing the United States title crown a new US champion on the show. It's a damn shame. So Benoit is basically in the world title picture. So replacing Benoit in the Triple Threat Theater is Billy Kidman. Kidman is in this series of matches throughout the show. I think the original ideas of these matches for the Triple Threat Theater is supposed to be a dungeon cage. I think it's called the Dungeon Match. I think it's a bunkhouse brawl and a cage match. Anyway, so I'll get to those Triple Threat Theaters on this show. Anyways, and Vince Russo is no longer the WCW head writer. I'll talk about Russo in the main event. So anyway, so speaking of the Triple Threat Theater, we got one match. So this match is a catch-as-can match. We got Billy Kidman taking on Dean Malenko. I think at this time, this was the feud between the Filthy Animals and the Revolution. So this match was a dud. The Good Workers, don't get me wrong, with Kidman and Malenko. I don't know why it's the catch-as-can match. It's basically, why, no one explained why it's the catch-as-can match. It was not explained. it was basically, in the end, you had Malenko just left the ring, he went back in the ring, and the referee giving the victory to Kidman. That is stupid. You know, I wish they did a dungeon match, you know. I'm guessing it'll be like in the Hart family dungeon. You know, I think that because, you know, Benoit wrestled and trained in the dungeon. Unfortunately, they changed. I don't understand why they did that, because no one explained why it's a catch as can match. You know, I don't want to get into it. Moving on to the next match. The next match, we got Vampiro. This is a three-way match. We got Vampiro taking on David Flair and Crowbar. I found on Wikipedia that originally, remember, the card was changed in the last minute, you know, due to like Bret Hart and Jeff Jarrett got injured. Anyway, originally it was supposed to be David Flair and Crowbar, because at the time they were the WCW Tag Team Champions, defending the belts against Vampiro and his mysterious opponent. Unfortunately, that was changed, so this is a three-way. They had this backstage brawl, you know, Flair and Crowbar beating down Vampiro. Anyway, the match was okay. You know, Vampiro has some early offense, and then Flair and Vampiro, you know, got their offense. Flair locked Vampiro with the figure four leg lock. Crowbar's trying to pin, and then this is a handicap match. This is not a freeway. This is a handicap match. You know, because I think Vampiro's the babyface, Flair and Crowbar are the heels. You know, Flair and Crowbar, you know, they argue a bit. I think Flair did like a move. David Flair did not work in the ring. I'm sorry, he's not that good as a wrestler. You know, he just never got it. You know, compared to, you know, Charlotte Flair of right now, she kind of got it. You know, she's more of an athlete than David. Anyway, so in the end, Vampiro hit, I think it was David Flair with, he call it the nail in the coffin to win this match. Vampiro would end up turning heel. He ended up feuding with Sting, and that was completely stupid. That led up to the fucking Human Torch match at Great American Bash 2000. I covered that show last year. Go and check it out. That was stupid. That fire the Human Torch match. Give me a fucking break. Anyway, so moving on to the next match. The next match, we've got the Harris brothers. That is Ron and Don Harris taking on the Mamalukes with Disco Inferno in their corner. The Mamalukes are Big Vito and Johnny the Bull. The match was okay. It was an okay standard match. A little boring. In the end, Disco got involved. He kind of pushed Vito. Vito kind of hit like I think it was like a flying clothesline onto one of the Harris brothers to win this match. Yeah, it was just an okay match. Nothing special. And then, oh fucking lord, we got Medusa defending the Cruiserweight Championship against Oklahoma Ed Ferrara. Oh boy, Medusa won the WCW Cruiserweight title at Starrcade. Ed Ferrara, he's basically Russo's co-writer, you know, because him and Russo played a massive part of the success of the Attitude Era, you know, the rise of the Attitude Era before going to WCW. What's Ed Ferrara doing? He ended up becoming a commentator in TNA when TNA doing the weekly shows, the weekly pay-per-views. What has Ed Ferrara done in WCW in his time? In WCW? He was doing a parody of Jim Ross. He's basically, you know, he was portraying Oklahoma. It's basically a Jim Ross parody. He was basically mocking and taking the piss out of Jim Ross. He was making fun of him, you know, making fun of his, because Jim Ross has Bell palsy. I think I'm glad he stopped it, because that is so offended, because why Ed Ferrara going out of the way to mock Jim Ross? You know, Jim Ross, everyone knows Jim Ross is one of the best play-by-play announcers of all time, and Ed Ferrara is just making fun of him. You know, I don't mind with the cowboy hat, you know, with the western accent, but making fun of the Bell's palsy, come on, it's not on. I'm glad that he stopped doing it. Anyway, so Oklahoma basically stole the Cruiserweight title from Medusa, attacked her with a broom, and doused her with barbecue sauce. Anyway, the match was shit. I understand Medusa, why? Because Medusa is a pro wrestler, she's been wrestling for years. Ed Ferrara is not a pro wrestler, he's a fucking writer. You know, in the end, Ferrara rolled up Medusa for the victory. That rolled up was terrible. You had Spice, who's in Medusa's corner. And also you got Asia coming in the aid for Medusa as well in this match. Anyway, Oklahoma won this match with a horrifying looking rolled up to win this match and become the new Cruiserweight champion. And after that, Medusa, Asia, Spies beating down Oklahoma and dousing with barbecue sauce. Anyway, the Cruiserweight title is dead. It's dead, folks. I'm not saying they got rid of it, because the Cruiserweight title stick around until the end of WCW's run. The credibility, it was dead. The Cruiserweight title was dead. It's really funny that, Medusa's a pro wrestler, but yeah, you had a writer winning the title. That was stupid. It's really funny. Here's the kicker. Later on in 2000, Vince Russo went on to become WCW World Champion. Another writer. Give me a fucking break. As for the Cruiserweight title, I'm naming names that proceed into that title, known as the Cruiserweight title. Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Chris Jericho, Juventud Guerrera, Billy Kidman, Think Psychosis, Alex Wright. They put the proceeds in that title. You know, how the fuck is Ferreira, you know, he has no right winning that title. I think back then some people don't really care, others a bit furious. Furious how Medusa and Ed Ferreira winning that title. You know, I'm not crapping on Medusa. Like, Medusa's a pro wrestler, you kind of get a little bit of a pass, but Ferreira winning the title or Writer winning the belt, it's not on. You know, this is for the Cruiserweights, you know. It's really funny, like, we didn't have any type of Cruiserweight match on this show. That is a bit criminal. Anyway, afterwards, Ferrero is no longer the Cruiserweight title for long. He ended up vacated the title. They did the tournament to crown the new Cruiserweight champion. And the artists, Prince Iaukea, who win the Cruiserweight championship at Super Brawl the following month. So at least the title reigns never last long. Thank fuck. Let's move on to the next match. The next match, we've got a 4-way hardcore match for the hardcore title. Brian Knobbs, former member of the Nasty Boys, no Jerry Sags at this moment, defending the hardcore title against Fit Finlay, Norman Smiley, and Ming. Shit hardcore match. Trying to keep it short and simple. In the end, Norman trying to hit, he's holding like a baton, trying to hit Knobbs with the baton, but instead, Knobbs hits Smiley with the, he was holding like this police riot shield, hit him with the shield to win this match and retain the hardcore title. It was a joke. It was shit. I understand. It's just basically WCW trying to be like WWE, trying to copy what they do. It's basically a knockoff version of the hardcore title in the WWF. WWF's hardcore title is way better than WCW's hardcore title. The hardcore division is a joke. I like the hardcore title in the WWF. It was way better. I know it's not gonna be serious, but it was funnier and better than this. This was shit. They never produced great hardcore matches. Sometimes fun, but mostly it's just ugly brawls. Let's move on to the next match. Anyway, next match. This is the second match of the Triple Threat Theater. We got Billy Kidman taking on Perry Saturn. This is the Bunkhouse Brawl. Two former members of the Flock. This was a breath of fresh air. This was a decent match, back and forth. Got both Kidman and Saturn are good workers. Saturn suplex Kidman off the ring and through a table. That was cool. And I'm guessing this is a false count anywhere match. That's the Bunkhouse Brawl is a false count anywhere. Anyway, in the end, I think Saturn was going to hit powerbomb Kidman. Kidman counted into a face buster to win this match. Never powerbomb Kidman, because Kidman is too quick. Anyway, yeah, it was a better match on the show. It was decent. Good. But they both did high flying moves, and that was good. Yeah, it's not a cruiserweight match, because Saturn is not really a cruiserweight. He did some cruiserweight moves, some high fly moves, some in this match, but it was fun, good storytelling. So moving on to the next match. The next match we got Booker T versus Stevie Ray. Harlan Heat exploded. So at this point, Harlan Heat is officially no more. This is all about Midnight. Midnight is basically Harlan Heat's muscle. They're trying to copy WWF at this moment, WCW. Because of China, Johnny Lauer, because you had Asia, that's Christine Wolf. I don't know what the real name of Midnight, because they're both, the muscular, China's muscular. I think close to China, I say Midnight because I think they're both the same height. The difference is, like, China's white, Midnight's black. Midnight, she's a beautiful woman. She's a decent looking black woman. Anyway, so, basically Stevie Ray's getting jealous of Midnight, because Midnight's causing the rift of Harlem Heat. Anyway, so the match was okay. The ending was disappointing. We got the debut of Big T. Big T is formerly known as Ahmed Johnson in the WWF. He was fat. He was completely fat at this time. He was a bit big and bulkier in his run in those, 95, 97 period. He's running WWF. But in WCW, he was fat. So, Stevie Ray and Big T, beat down Booker T. Midnight trying to help. And yeah, this was the officially end of Harlem Heat. And this was the end of Midnight's run in WCW. She was gone after this. And this was the start of, because Stevie Ray formed his version of Harlem Heat. That includes Stevie Ray, Big T, Cash, and Jay Biggs. That never lasts long. They get the rest of the first quarter of 2000. Booker T ended up feuding with Stevie Ray and his new version of Harlem Heat. He ended up losing his name. He lost the right for, they did the right for the letter T at Super Brawl. Booker became Booker. He became G.I. Bro, part of the Misfits in Action. Then he beat Booker T once again, and he became a multiple-time WCW World Champion. So, a quick, brief history there. Anyway, next match we got Tank Abbott taking on Jerry Flynn. This was shit. They're just trying to push not Jerry Flynn. They're trying to push Tank Abbott as this legitimate fighter. This is basically like because Tank Abbott is a former MMA fighter, he compete in the UFC. Jerry Flynn, I done my research. He had a history. He competed in. I think he was a martial artist. I think he competed in Taekwondo. Anyway, because he was wearing like these Taekwondo trousers. Tank Abbott was wearing the MMA gear. With the gloves. The match was shit. Abbott just beat the fuck out of Flynn. Just multiple MMA punches, and that was it. And they trying to push this dude. I'll get to the main event, and yeah, like I said, this is the first show without Russo. So moving on to, this is the match of the night. We got DDP versus Buff Bagwell. This is a last man standing match. This is a love triangle between DDP, Bagwell, and Kimberly. Match was good. It was a fun last man standing match. So we're fighting in the brawl. They were fighting in this website area because Madden was part of the website team at the time before he became a commentator. The poor man Jerry Lawler. They throw each other, both Bagwell and DDP throw computer monitors. DDP hit like an elbow through a table onto Bagwell. In the end, DDP hit the diamond cutter onto Bagwell. Unfortunately, he didn't get out for the count of 10. Bagwell won this match. I'm guessing DDP was a heel, Bagwell was a babyface. Kimberly showed up, and in the end, DDP beats up Bagwell more, and that was it. Yeah, I think they dropped it. DDP will go back as a babyface after that. Kimberly turned on. Basically, in the first, going into the spring and summer of 2000, he gets turned on. He got turned on by Kimberly, turned on by Mike Awesome, and he get turned by David Arquette when he was the WCW World Champion. So, the match was good. It was not the best last man standing match. It was fun, because both DDP and Bagwell beat the living piss out of each other. So moving on to the third and final match of the Triple Threat Theater, we got Billy Kidman versus his mysterious opponent. Shane Douglas introduced the fucking Wall. And this is a cage match, folks. Actually, I don't call it the cage. This is WCW's knockoff version of Hell in a Cell. This is Hell in a Cell, folks. This is how I still cage. It's Hell in a Cell. How the flying fuck how WCW got away for this shit? How the hell WWF not suing WCW? They threatened to sue WCW when Ray Traylor's portraying as the boss. It's similar to his Big Boss gimmick in WWF. How the living fuck they get away for this? I don't get into it. So anyway, match was boring. Just a way to put over the wall. The wall just basically chokeslam Kidman. Kidman was going for like a move up the top rope. Basically, the wall chokeslammed him, and that was it. Okay, and then we got a hardcore match between Terry Funk versus Kevin Nash. This is over the commissionership of WCW. At the time, Terry Funk returned to WCW. I don't say debut. This was a return because he was in WCW before. It was, that was formerly known as the NWA. Anyway, so he came back as the commissioner. You got still the NWO. Why are they still doing the NWO stuff in 2000? The group was disbanded in April. Anyway, so the stipulation is that this is not just for the commissionership. If Kevin Nash loses this hardcore match, the NWO was disbanded. Anyway, the match was shit. Basically Nash jackknifed Terry Funk through a table. He got on the mic, says, "If you get back in the ring, you keep the commissionership." Funk get back in the ring, and Nash says, "I'm a lying son of a bitch." In the end, he hit Funk again. Basically, Funk was bleeding like a stuffed pig. I think it was the chair shot to the head. In the end, he hit another jackknife onto the chairs to pin Funk, and Nash became the new commissioner of WCW. Yeah, that was shit. And moving on to the main event. The main event, we got Chris Benoit versus Sid Vicious. This is for the vacant WCW World Heavyweight Championship. And Double A Arn Anderson is a special guest referee. So, yeah, like I said, Vince Russo is no longer the head booker of WCW. So basically, I think it was days before the show, Bret Hart suffered a concussion. So, the backstage people, the head guys of WCW trying to, allow Vince to crown a new WCW champion. Vince pitched the whole idea to the committee. He pitched the whole idea to have Tank Abbott from the UFC to become the new WCW World Champion. The backstage guys from WCW found it stupid, and they fired Vince Russo as the head writer. Don't worry, he'll be back in the spring. When WCW did the reboot alongside Bischoff. Bischoff came back as the consultant. Another story for another time. So Kevin Sullivan is the booker, or temporary booker, because Russo's idea backfired. Because first off, Tank Abbott, that is completely stupid. I don't want to get into it, So anyway, I think Sullivan wants Benoit to be the world champion. Anyway, the match was good. It was decent. And you got members of the WCW locker room sitting outside. Because this is like a history maker, Not history maker, but I think it's trying to make it as a big deal. Anyway, so this was good. It was, big versus small. The bulk of the match, Benoit worked on the leg of Sid. It's very funny that a year later he suffered a career leg injury, a career-ended leg injury. He did like a move off the top rope. That being Sid, folks. At Super Brawl, he was fine. Anyway, Sid was never good in the ring. Anyway, in the end, Benoit locked Sid with the cripple crossface. Sid tapped out, and Benoit became the new WCW World Champion. And then we got this backstage segment with Benoit, and Arn Anderson, basically Arn Anderson welcoming and really thanking Benoit, congratulating Benoit for his victory. And then you got Kevin Nash, the commissioner, who just defeated Terry Funk, said 24 hours later, the world title belonged to NWO, and it was right. And this was Chris Benoit's final WCW pay-per-view appearance and his final match in WCW. His contract expired. I heard rumors like he also had a backstage. He doesn't like Kevin Sullivan. This is over Nancy. And it's not just Benoit who left the company after Sold Out. This show is also the final appearance of Dean Malenko and Perry Saturn. And also they end up, it was Benoit, Malenko, Saturn end up leaving to the WWF. Guerrero also joined ship with Benoit, Malenko, and Saturn. And we got the Radicals in the WWF. So, I think the next night on Nitro, So yeah, they vacated Benoit the title because in kayfabe, because of the controversial ending at Sold Out. Basically, Sid's legs was underneath the rope, but in real life, Benoit, left for WWF. So Sid win the world title. They vacated the title again because he pinned the Ron Harris twins. He was in the match with the Harris brothers, and then he feuded with Kevin Nash. That's another story for another time. Anyway, so my final ratings for the final Sold Out in WCW history, WCW Sold Out 2000. Boy, I'm gonna give it a 5. Actually, fuck it, I'll give it a 4. This is I gotta say worse than 1997. 1997 is the drizzling shit. This is the second worst. I give it I give it like 4. It was like some good. Don't get me wrong, like Kidman versus Saturn, DDP versus Bagwell, and also Benoit versus Sid. The OK was the OK, like the Harris brothers taking on the Mamelukes, and Booker T versus Stevie Ray. And also the freeway match between Vampiro, Flair, and Crowbar. That was okay. Yeah, and I put Booker T and Stevie Ray in the OK instead of the finish. Besides that, there was a lot of shit on the show. You had like Malenko versus Kidman, catch as can match, Kidman versus The Wall in the cage match, or the knockoff version of Hell in a Cell. We got the four-way hardcore match for the hardcore title, Terry Funk versus Kevin Nash, hardcore match, and Medusa versus Ed Ferrara for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. Yeah, this was the drizzling shits of this show. Not the worst. If I rank this before I'm gonna end this video, if I rank Sold Out shows to best to worst, the best show so far in the history of Sold Out shows, the best one has to be Sold Out 98. Second best has to be Sold Out 99. The second worst Sold Out show has to be Sold Out 2000. Yeah, the worst has to be Sold Out 97. That was the drizzling shit. So, anyway. Hope you enjoyed my review of WCW Sold Out 2000. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash the like button. And subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube. Next time, boy, the end of 2020 and going into 2021, I've been reviewing 1990s WCW shows, to the pre-Monday Night War era to the Monday Night War era. So, I'm trying to get away from that. Let's review a 1980s show from the NWA. So let's review. I don't know. Let's review the Bunkhouse Stampede 1988. This is Essential Man officially signing out. Check you later.